FBI agents investigate many different types of FBI cases, including white-collar crimes, cybersecurity breaches, strange missing person cases, and fugitives that have evaded capture. But there are also some FBI files that can only be described as strange, as the details surrounding these cases fall outside the normal boundaries of ordinary investigations. Number 5. The strange FBI file of the kidnapping of Kim Leggett started on the 9th of October, 1984. Kim was 21 years old at the time and living in Mercedes, Texas, where she was working as a secretary at the Rose Cotton Gin Company that was owned by her father-in-law, Lefty Gardner. At around 4:30 p.m., Kim helped a customer weigh produce that he'd brought into the store, and shortly afterward, she was seen talking to two unidentified men while standing between her car and a sports car. At about 5 p.m., another customer entered the shop to have his produce weighed, but Kim was nowhere to be found, and her disappearance remains an unsolved mystery to this day. Just minutes after she was last seen, Gardner received a phone call informing him that Kim had been kidnapped and a ransom was demanded. Gardner shrugged the call off as a joke and decided to call her at work, but got no answer. This prompted him to drive to the gin company, where he found her college textbooks open on her desk next to a calculator that had been switched on, but he could find no sign of Kim. Her car still had the keys in the ignition, and her purse was untouched. A few days after Kim's strange disappearance, the Gardner family received a ransom note demanding $250,000 for her release. It's believed that the note was written by Kim, but that the writing on the envelope belonged to someone else. The family offered a $10,000 reward for any information on the case. The kidnappers never contacted the family again to follow up on the ransom payment, and they publicly pleaded with the kidnappers to release her, but to no avail. No further leads were ever received in the case, and in 2012, the FBI released aerial photos of the area surrounding the gin company, hoping that it would refresh the public's memory of the case and spark new leads, but this too proved fruitless. Despite the best efforts of the police and the FBI, Kim's case remains unsolved, and no suspects have been named in her kidnapping. Number 4. On the 22nd of June, 1953, a paperboy named Jimmy Bozert was collecting payments for the Brooklyn Eagle newspaper in New York City. While collecting at an apartment complex located at 3404 Foster Avenue, two female customers gave him change for $1, including a nickel that seemed strange to him as it felt too light. He dropped the coin on the ground, and to his surprise, it split in half, revealing that there was microfilm inside. He immediately told the daughter of a New York City police officer, and that officer informed the FBI of the strange finding 2 days later. The nickel was sent to FBI agent Louis Hahn, and it was found that the microfilm contained a series of numbers that they then tried to decipher. They also noted that the coin's face was that of a 1948 Jefferson nickel, and that the reverse side was from a coin that was minted between 1942 and 1945. For the next 4 years, the FBI unsuccessfully attempted to break the coded message, but in 1957, they received help from a KGB defector who was able to tell them that the message was in fact meant for him. It congratulated him on his safe arrival in the US and stated that he would be receiving $3,000 in local currency to aid in organizing his cover. Further, it stated that he would be receiving a formula for the preparation of soft film and warned him not to send any information about himself in one single message. He was also informed that a package had been delivered to his wife and that his family was doing well. The message ended with the words, "Greeting from the comrades, number 1, 3rd of December." This information led to the arrest of William Fisher, whose hotel room was found to be filled with espionage equipment. He received a sentence of 30 years in prison, but in 1962, he was exchanged for Gary Francis, who was being held captive in the Vladimir Central Prison in the Soviet Union. It was never discovered how the coin made its way to the two women who handed it to Jimmy, the paperboy. But thanks to his curiosity, he helped the FBI uncover an undetected spy operation. Number 3. On the 25th of May, 2003, a Boeing 727-223 that had been owned by American Airlines for 25 years had been illegally parked at an airport in Angola for more than a year. It had accrued more than $4 million in unpaid airport taxes, but it was in the process of being converted for use by IRS Airlines in Nigeria. Just before sunset that day, American pilot Ben C. Padilla and Congolese mechanic John M. Mutantu boarded the plane without permission, despite the fact that neither of them was certified to fly a Boeing 727. The two men boarded the plane together as they needed an extra crew member to get the craft off the ground. The plane taxied erratically on the runway without communicating to the control tower and took off with no lights, heading southwest over the Atlantic Ocean. Officers in the tower attempted to make contact with the men on board, but they received no response. Shortly before they left, the plane had been filled with 14,000 gallons of fuel that would allow it to fly for approximately 1,500 miles. The plane soon disappeared from sight over the ocean, and neither it nor the men were ever seen again. Many theories have been posited regarding the strange mystery. Padilla's sister, Benita Padilla Kirkland, stated that her family believes her brother was the one at the controls of the plane, and they feared that he may have crashed the craft somewhere in Africa, or that he's being held against his will. US authorities have stated, however, that they believe aerospace sales and leasing president Maury Joseph's history with accounting fraud had a part in the theft, and that it was possibly the result of a business feud or the result of a scam. Some of Padilla's friends believe that he flew the plane to an airstrip along the western border of Tanzania, where he had it broken down and sold for parts. Following the daring incident, multiple countries were searched for the missing plane by the FBI and the CIA. These included Sri Lanka and Nigeria, but nothing was found, and the plane, as well as Padilla and Mutantu, remain missing to this day. Number 2. On the 21st of February, 2021, American Airlines Flight 2292 was on its way to Phoenix, Arizona from Cincinnati, Ohio, when one of its pilots made a startling observation that piqued the interest of the FBI. While flying at 37,000 feet over northeastern New Mexico, the pilot contacted Albuquerque Air Traffic Control and asked if they could see anything on their radar, since he had just seen an object traveling over the top of the plane. He stated, quote, "I hate to say this, but it looked like a long cylindrical object that almost looked like a cruise missile type of thing, moving really fast right over the top of us." The Albuquerque Center didn't have a chance to respond to his question, as local air traffic was causing interference, but the plane eventually landed safely in Phoenix a short while after the strange sighting. American Airlines would later confirm that the transmission was in fact real, and that they had received additional information from the flight crew, but they declined to answer any further questions and stated that any additional information should be requested from the FBI. The Federal Aviation Administration later released a statement saying that FAA air traffic controllers did not see the object on their radars, further deepening the mystery. An FBI spokesman named Frank Fisher told the media that the FBI is aware of the incident, and that while he was hesitant to state whether the agency was investigating the sighting, he stated that they will work continuously with their federal, local, state, and tribal partners to share intelligence and protect the public. It was initially thought that the pilot may have mistaken a Learjet 60 that passed close by Flight 2292 for an unknown object, but it was found that the jet crossed their path 9 minutes before the pilot's transmission, and that it was flying 5,000 feet above the Airbus, as is normal. No other sightings of the unidentified object were reported, and no further information on the strange incident has been released since. Number 1. In 2012, husband and wife Harold and Toni Hinthorn were celebrating their 12th wedding anniversary with a visit to the Rocky Mountain National Park in Colorado. On the 29th of September, they decided to go on a hike in Estes Park, but at 5:55 p.m., the walk took a tragic turn. Harold placed a call to 911 stating that he needed an alpine rescue team as Toni had fallen from a 150-foot cliff. The couple was on Deer Mountain, a remote area about 2.5 miles from the trailhead, and as Harold waited for help to arrive, he built a small fire and started to text their family and friends. In his first text, he notified them that Toni had fallen and she was in critical condition. He added that rangers were on their way and that he was monitoring her pulse and breathing. At 6:25, he sent more messages saying that he was now unable to find a pulse. At around 8 p.m., park ranger Mark Fardy reached the couple and found Harold attempting chest compressions on his wife. He quickly concluded that she had unfortunately passed away and convinced Harold to hike out with him, since other rangers who had arrived at the scene would stay with Toni until the following morning. Over the next few days, Fardy investigated the incident, and he started to notice strange discrepancies in Harold's version of events. He noted that the timeline that Harold had given didn't make sense, and since he claimed to have administered CPR, it was strange that Toni's lipstick wasn't even smudged. When he asked Harold about his first marriage, he stated that his wife Lynn had passed away due to an accident, but didn't want to discuss it any further. During this time, the Rocky Mountain National Park started receiving phone calls from various people who confirmed that Harold's wife had also succumbed in a remote area, and that they found Toni's passing to be highly suspicious. He'd received more than $500,000 in insurance when Lynn passed away, and Toni's insurance was worth even more. Fardy decided to contact the Investigative Services Branch, and their agent, Beth Schott, was assigned to the case. When she found that Harold's story didn't match up, she teamed up with FBI agent Johnny Grusing, and together they found that Harold's first wife passed away when she was helping him change a tire on their car, and the jack had allegedly slipped, causing the car to fall on her. He was the only witness to the crime. In September of 2015, Harold went on trial for Toni's murder. On the 21st of September, he was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. However, we may never learn if he was responsible for the accident of his first wife as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to hit that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep up to date with all of our future uploads. But I've been Ty Knotts, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.